Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, welcoming the one and only Nancy Grace to Behind the Velvet Rope. She's got a new movie on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, October 23rd. Make sure to check it out. Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade. I'm just sitting here singing your graces, Nancy Grace. No pun intended, but I guess a pun happened. So congratulations. I love how you brought your book with you. That's so
did.
cool.
I certainly Murder in the Courthouse.
I love it. And you have a TV movie that's going to be on Hallmark based off of the Hailey Dean series. How does this happen? Walk me through this whole process.
Well, let me tell you something. The book, Murder in the Courthouse, has come out. It's on the stands, and a portion of my proceeds go to National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So I'm really proud of this. The movie is coming out on Hallmark Movies and Mystery channel, which is awesome. It's all movies and mysteries, which I love. October 23rd, Sunday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. Okay, get your popcorn, get there, because I have a cameo role.
I saw some of the clips.
As a defense lawyer, okay? That's so wrong.
And you executive produced it, so.
Yeah, I did, and I'm just so proud to be part of Hallmark, because Hallmark is a network, a channel where I don't have to mute every time the twins run through the room. Okay, everything else, I mean, even the presidential debates place, I'm like, okay, get out, okay, quick mute.
That you actually have to probably keep on mute the whole time these days.
So I'm proud, and it really means a lot to me. When I first moved to New York to launch Cochran and Grace with the late Johnnie Cochran, God rest his soul, I would come home. I was straight out of the courtroom. I had been prosecuting nothing but felonies and representing crime victims for 10 years in inner city Atlanta. I came here with a curling iron, 2 boxes of clothes, and $300. I'm like, what could go wrong? Okay, so anyway, I knew nobody at all. So I would come home from work to my apartment, and I was so lonely, away from the juries and crime and justice. I started writing the first Hailey Dean murder mystery called 11th Victim. And no one person in there is real. It is a collage of the people I met, the things I saw and experienced, the crimes I prosecuted, the bad guys, the judges, the defense attorneys. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. And that was my first Hailey Dean murder mystery. Then the second one was Death on the D List. That was after I spent a little time in LA. Okay, I'm like, okay, a lot of these people are gonna die, okay, right now. So Death on the D List. And it's about some aging actresses still clinging to fame, and they all start getting murdered. Okay, that leads me to the third. It's my fourth book, the third in Hailey Dean. It opens like a James Bond movie. You know, you've got to have a great open, all right? This opens with a guy getting severed in half. You think by the garage door. Okay, we all know that's basically impossible, right? Because there's all these safety mechanisms, but not in my book. Okay, so that's how it starts out. So you see a pair of legs sticking out of the garage door.
I say I love your energy. Like, it's so interesting when you see people on television or movies, and then you meet them in real life, and the energy doesn't match up. And I'm like, Nancy Grace is still Nancy Grace in person. I love it.
I'm going to take that in the best possible way.
I mean, an enormous compliment. Listen, you and I were talking about this before we got started. Yeah. To see what your career has become, the plight of it, is mind-bogglingly incredible, because I remember the OJ. That was kind of the beginning, the OJ trial. And I was telling you before we got started, I'm like, you essentially became a cultural figure. Not just overnight, but you took that and you built it into a career where you write books, you're making movies. You had an 11-year run with HLN. 12-year run. When you look at what this became, does it blow your mind still?
Well, you know what? Honestly, I really can't take credit, because it's beyond anything I could have ever planned or hoped for. Frankly, the Lord has just rained down blessings on me that I couldn't have even asked for. I grew up on a red dirt road with a tree growing up in the middle in the front of our house, where the bookmobile would come from the public library for the poor and rural children so they could have books. Okay, it's the first time I ever had air conditioning.
Unbelievable.
And I certainly never dreamed that I could be on television or write a book or anything like that. This is beyond anything I could have planned.
When you look at it, you've done so much good. People don't realize you've got to do television, you got to get ratings, you got to do all that stuff. But you did good with this. Good things came out of it. What were some of your most memorable good things?
Well, I know them, and they are when I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I look at my iPhone and I see that a child we were looking for has been found because a tip was called in from our show, or from our Facebook and Twitter feed. I mean, it means the world to me, and especially now. I got into crime. I had planned to be an English Shakespearean literature professor.
I can't imagine that.
And, I was all about Shakespeare, and my fiance was murdered shortly before our wedding at a very, very young age. And my world exploded, and I dropped out of school. It was a horrible time. I finally went back to school with the intent of going to law school to become a felony prosecutor. It took me 7 years before I got in the courtroom from that time. 7 years.
Unbelievable.
And I made it. And the first time I tried a case, it was an attempt at shoplifting. But I walked out of that courthouse and I felt like a bird out of a cage. And when I would go in the courtroom and raise H-E-double-L, I'm like, where did that come from? It's like I found my voice for other people. And I know putting the bad guy away, it doesn't fix the heartbreak for crime victims, but it's a Band-Aid, and I could do that, right?
Yeah, I think it's great. Johnnie Cochran, I want to ask you, having grown up and you had a show with him, what was he like? Well,
Honest?
Yeah.
Now, see, I was all ready to hate his guts, okay? Because, we all know O.J. did it, right? Excuse me, Orenthal James Simpson. And so I would sit down going, I don't know how he stood me, frankly. I mean, I fought with him bitterly, like, it was me. And so I watched him and studied him. He was so charming and so gregarious, not overbearing. And that's how Johnnie Cochran won his cases. He just had, and I'm not saying he did it all by charm, but he just had such a personality. And I won my cases by hard work and really believing I had the right guy and I was doing the right thing. Johnnie would float into a courtroom or into a room,
Just put
and
the charm offensive on.
everybody just wanted to be with you, wanted to go home with him, you wanted to go have a dinner with him, you wanted to hang out by the elevator and talk to him.
We're dealing with a really tough time in America, especially crime. What do you think's going on? How do we fix this?
Well, I tell you, the problem lies with the people we are electing. Let me explain what I mean by that. When I was a prosecutor, I also was an activist, a lobbyist for the district attorney's office on anti-crime measures within the Georgia Assembly. They would put all kind of laws on the books, like, we're going to have rehab for first offenders. We're going to have halfway houses for DUIs and habitual violators. We're going to have this for people that are caught with one hit of crack and they really just have a drug problem. They never funded it. They put all those laws on the books, and when I see it today, we're so happy we passed this law. I'm like, that and a dime will buy me nothing, because you have to take the money that you're spending on bridges to nowhere and boondoggles, and you have to put it in our justice system. There were so many times I'd have a young man that maybe it was his first offense. I'd try to give him probation, or if it was an offense that I would have no choice. What if he had a drug problem and I wanted to send him to forced rehab for 6 months? No money. You know what I used to do? Instead of sending somebody to jail, at that time I could get the military to take these young men that had never had, maybe they stole a car, okay? Maybe they got caught with pot, or maybe they got caught with a hit of crack. One thing, okay, one thing. And they were going to go to jail That's not right in my mind. So I would have the, typically the Army, show up, and they'd interview the guy, and they would make sure with probation that he got on the bus to go to training at some point. You know, I'd hold him in jail until the day he went. And then if he made it, I would have his record expunged. Then, you know, with no money to support the system, there was nothing to do. I could either send him back on the street and possibly an innocent person would be the next victim, or I could send him to jail. Those are the two choices. That, in my mind, is the problem. The money we are spending on crazy stuff that doesn't matter could be used to help offenders get turned around and to help crime victims that desperately need help. I mean, look, you know, after my fiance was murdered, I did not go to therapy. I did not see a counselor. I didn't even know about things like that. And it took me 28 or 9 years before I felt that I could marry and have children. I almost didn't because of the time it took me to get through that alone. And, you know, that's not right. It's not right. And we can, in our great country, do something about it, but we're not.
What do you think about the election right now? What about
Oh, dear Lord in heaven.
What do you think about this craziness?
Okay, you know, you asked me.
No,
okay?
I'm dying to
so
know
I'm
your
gonna
thoughts.
Tell you, and I very rarely talk about politics because crimes are not political. And I don't want to politicize my fight for justice. I really don't. But, okay, you've got Trump spouting off with all the vulgarities, and, you know, he's caught red-handed. He did it, okay, and he probably said a lot worse. And then you got Hillary with her homegrown emails that the Russians and the Chinese probably hacked into, the Secretary of State, and the whole Benghazi thing. So, okay, those are our choices. Forget about libertarian or green. It doesn't matter. You might as well throw your ballot out the window on 3rd Avenue, okay? Forget it. So those are our two choices. So you're going to have to go in and vote, whether you hold your nose or not, about who of those two choices can best steer our country.
It's true.
That's my take. And you know it's true, right?
I
You
do.
know it's true.
It's the lesser of two evils in
Yeah.
my mind.
So, you know, no offense to them. You know, they both accomplished. I mean, look how smart she is. All her degrees, she's so smart. And look what he's accomplished. But you still,
I agree.
both of them.
You and I were talking. You're saying goodbye to the HLN show tomorrow.
Yeah.
What is it like? What's going through your head as you say
I
goodbye?
will tell you this, it's bittersweet. Because HLN has been my home for 12 years. And a lot of the people on my staff, believe it or not, I brought with me from Court TV. We've been together, you know, 15, 16 years. Now that is tight, right?
Yeah.
And my staff is totally taken care of. They all have jobs. They're going to stay, and everything's going to be fine with them. I am going on to a new venture.
I can't wait.
Me
Is it-
either.
Is it, when you look at,
It's scary and fun and crazy all at the same time. It's sad and happy at the same time.
when you look at cultural legacy, what do you want people to say about Nancy Grace so far? If someone said, this is Nancy Grace, what would you want the definition of that to be?
Well, the first thing I would want it to say is she was the best mommy in the world. And then I guess the second thing would be that she always tried to do the right thing.
I like that. So what's everybody getting with this? When they see the Hallmark movie, what are they going to get?
Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
Yes?
Okay. Hallmark Movies. It's a sister
She
channel.
does a better job at plugging stuff than I do. Hallmark, let's do it together.
Movies and Mysteries.
We're going to do it on 3 together. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. October 23rd, 9 o'clock Eastern. Popcorn, no soda because the twins can't drink soda. Just the popcorn.
What are they
And
getting?
They get water, they get milk, sometimes chocolate milk if I'm crazy.
I know the movie.
Oh, the movie, okay. The movie,
Now I know what you're
my
doing.
stars. The movie is Murder with Love. Woo! And it's an original screenplay that I helped write based on the characters in this book. Okay? So I love it, and you are not going to figure it out.
I love it. Everybody make sure to check out on Hallmark Movies
and Mysteries. October
23rd.
A+ at
I pay attention.
9 o'clock Eastern.
Not bad for someone who hasn't had a meal yet today, by the way. I'm
Portions of
fasting.
proceeds go to National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.